first time for Countdown's #2 story, tonight's worst persons in the world. The bronze tonight to George Will, writing in paranoid dismay in the Washington Post, warning of a liberal plot that no liberals seem interested in carrying out. In talk radio, Mr. Will writes, beautifully but nonsensically, liberals are seeking intellectual protectionism in the form of regulations that suppress ideological rivals. He continues, if reactionary liberals, unsatisfied with dominating the mainstream media, academia, and Hollywood, were competitive on talk radio, they would be uninterested in reviving the fairness doctrine. But, George, they are uninterested. All the liberals supposedly behind the plot to kill off right-wing radio, including the president-elect, have denied any desire to reintroduce the so-called fairness doctrine, a point underscored by the fact that in your 740-word column, you don't mention one name of any liberal supposedly pushing to reinstate the doctrine. The runner-up, the Hannity. Here's the dishonesty of the lunatic fringe. Sean Hannity is complaining about the swiftness with which Senator Ted Stevens of Alaska was, quote, indicted, tried, convicted, voted out of office. He claimed, quoting again, liberals can get away with whatever they need to get away with for political expediency. If you're a Republican like Ted Stevens, even though the case against you is a lot more murky, you know, justice moves at lightning speed. Not only do you get indicted, you get tried and you get convicted in record time, but the Justice Department moves so fast, it's like some kind of national emergency. What Hannity left out there was Stevens asked for the swiftest trial possible. After he was indicted on July 29th, Stevens' attorney asked for trial to start at the end of September so Stevens could clear his name before the election. This is not a complex case, and it should move quickly, Brendan Sullivan said. This is the first time in my life I have asked for a speedy trial. So it moved at lightning speed, Sean, not because of some liberal plot, but because Ted Stevens, a conservative, asked for it. But our winner, Billo the Clown, and you can add to the many adjectives, liar, Newt Gingrich went on his show and responded to some of the backlash against Prop 8 in California and said, quote, I think there is a gay and secular fascism in this country that wants to impose its will on the rest of us, is prepared to use violence. The New Yorker's Rick Hertzberg bashed Gingrich appropriately. Billo, of course, sent two of his stalker producers to wait outside Hertzberg's home to ambush him, to claim he took Gingrich out of context, demand an apology, and, most importantly, accuse Hertzberg of never watching O'Reilly's show. Standard stuff. But Billo also claims Hertzberg refused to go on O'Reilly's Ego Fest. It turns out O'Reilly was lying about that. Hertzberg, the New Yorker's editor, and the magazine's publicist all say nobody at Fox had ever asked Hertzberg to go on, that if he had been asked, he would have said yes and still would. You want to know what this one is really about? Well, this continues to be about the journalistic icons of Billy's youth. Newsday, the New York Times, the New Yorker, and NBC, all rejecting him. Billo the Liar, today's worst person in the world.